so we are going to download this. And I guess we just have to install it and stuff, so... That's quite possibly the lamest, like, 1990s installation I've ever seen. It's literally a WinZip self-extraction tool. It's kind of silly. Alright, so it looks like that was actually the installer, so... Let's double check what they say. Yep. No, it's not. That is the action. I don't know, but before it does a whole bunch of stuff. I figured setup.exe was gonna, set it up and install the program. Maybe Dell doesn't. No, I'm not gonna say anything. Open the server manager shortcut. What? There is no shortcut. Whatever. We can figure this shit out. Alright. Install server administrator. Oh, this is the fucking installer then. Okay. Well, I install everything into my Z drive, so that's why I have to do it this way. Maybe that's what I should call this whole video series. It'll just be Life as Necrosis. Completed. The iDRAC management system isn't out of. I don't give a shit. As soon as I give a shit, I'll Google it. Put it in timing. So that's it. Make an icon on my desktop. It did. Put it right here next to my Dead or Alive with the naked ladies. I guess we don't need this folder anymore then. Alright, let's run this and see. It wants to launch a browser window. Alright, let's see where they go with this. Oh, is it gonna run a... Interesting. So the host is this. Whatever. Just do it the way they wanted us to do it. Yes, please verify my credentials. Confirm that I am the network administrator of my own database. Buster Megalopolis. Please take your time. Apologize in advance to anybody that fucking comes across this video trying to get help or something and it just happens to match like the tags or the title or something. It's not a tutorial. This is just me doing my own whatever and documenting it like a almost like a log or documentary or something. So the vaping thing is annoying, I'm sure, to some. I apologize. Okay, so it works, as far as I can tell. So this works too now. By now it's probably booted. Nope, it's still booting. That VCSA thing, I mean, that thing's got, I gave it 10 gigs of RAM. Let's see what we've got. So if I understand this correctly, this is now integrated with the iDRAC on my Dell server. The main system chassis. Oh, nice. So I got some good information. Like my battery looks good on the CMOS, alert management, SNMP stuffs. None of that's important. It's going to go through some of this. Wonder if I can do upgrades and stuff through this. When I bought this server and it came in, it was on version like 2.15. I installed like Windows Server onto the hard drive first and updated the firmware. Not sure how I would do it through ESXi, or if you can. If I boot it into like a WinPE environment, I might be able to go through the network and do that. Can I control? Oh shit, nice. So this is like, I got all the BIOS options available to me. This is definitely a nice administrative setup. This I'm probably going to redo. I'm going to uninstall this from my desktop, and I'm going to create a virtual machine that will run this instead. Because then I'd be able to log in, and every server I got it installed on, I'll be able to just manage it all through the virtualized network system without needing a desktop PC. Much easier to back up and all that. Boot sequence order, okay. It's slow, but so you guys that are curious, I have a hard drive sequence. Right now there's literally one 2.5-inch drive. That's basically the entire data store. The MFS 6 volume for EMXi. And a 8 gigabyte USB flash drive that actually has the installation of ESXi in it. So it's booting off of that. Is it doing anything or just... Oh, well, yeah, there it is. I'm blind. Yep, so it goes to the USB device first, and then if it wasn't there, well, good luck trying to boot off the hard drive. That's not gonna... Fans... These things are going right now at almost 5,000 RPMs, and it's pretty not that loud, so. Firmware, can I update my firmware and stuff through here? No, but I can at least get the information on it. Hardware performance. System board power optimized, normal, whatever. Intrusion. I could disable the intrusion thing, that'd be nice, but it looks like you can't. And I remember looking this up. If you don't know, on the PowerEdge servers, if you take off the top to get access to the hardware, the fans kick in to max speed, and it sounds like a vacuum cleaner. And apparently that's part of the intrusion system. I guess nobody likes vacuum cleaners, and that's supposed to be the deterrent. Memory. Now, I noticed that the memory on this machine they sent me, it's got 32 gigs of RAM. I don't know exactly what the setup was, but it was not optimal according to the BIOS. So I can see here it's got, they're using 4 gig sticks. There's 8 of them. A 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's only using 8 of the 18 slots to do that. And there's like a whole complicated, specific way they recommend doing it and stuff. I wonder if there's a more optimum way to connect the ones they gave me or not. But figure memory mode, what is this? Oh, I see. Optimize, mirroring, ECC. Whatever. But yeah, this is cool. This is like I have all my BIOS settings and stuff that can be administrated remotely. Here you can see I have the 4 network interfaces. And this is the VMK0. That would be the virtual machine interface. This is how it must be communicating instead of, there's an actual fifth port moored off to the side. That's for the drag controller. And I think what you do normally with that, and again, I'm not an expert, I'm not a professional, I'm not trained, I'm nothing. I'm just a psychopath with his own fucking free time to abuse, with no one to stop me. No one to save me from myself. But it has an extra port, and that's supposed to be for this whole iDRAC interface. And I think you would connect it, and you can connect it to the internet, or not to the internet, to your interface, like your switch. And it has its own IP that you would remote into, and stuff like that. But I believe this setup with the virtual machine, the hypervisor ESXi setup we did, integrates with that without having to physically plug in anything. It's just there. It's connected. So that's cool. And until I get my second and third servers, I won't know exactly how it integrates with other servers, but I imagine it will work. And that'll be, I guess I'll record that shit too. But you can see virtual VM NIC 0. And actually, yeah, I'm just noticing it's listing the interfaces under what it shows in ESXi. So this whole thing is kind of fused into the hypervisor's perspective. So that's kind of cool. This is the one that just goes into my switch. I can see BCM 5709, Broadcom. I can see the MAC address, any other information, all potentially useful. I can even see the firmware excrement. Operational status unknown. I'm guessing maybe more advanced cards might give you more information. Alright, ports. What else we got? Let's go through some of these. So various USB interfaces. Now let's see, there's actually a number of different interfaces for USB on this machine. There's like 2 USB ports in the front. Right now there's nothing in those. There's 2 USB ports in the back. I have a mouse and keyboard still plugged into those. There is a USB port inside the case. If you think where the hard drive is, or, sorry, not the hard drives, to the left, the CD-ROM drive, behind that, there's a port that comes in. That must be this guy. See, that's where I have my USB card plugged in. It's basically inside the case instead of on the outside. And there is also right next to that a slot for SD cards, so you could also use an SD card. I think there was a way to enable that in the BIOS somewhere, but I'm not going to use it, so power management stuff. There's 2 power supplies it came with, but I'm only using one at the moment. I took the other one out. Power headroom. Oh, this might be useful to know if I need more juice or not with the amount of hardware I would have in there somewhere. But it looks like there's even like a threshold reading and warning point and stuff. So if I get too high, so right now the system board levels reporting 154 watts with the warning threshold at 917. Ooh, so this is configured for the dual hard drive. Each hard drive, I believe, is 570 watts. It's literally like a hot swap type thing. You just slide it in, and you can click to slide it out. Power cable, and it connects in here and all that stuff. And these are... oh, wow. 870 watts. Okay, that's... never mind. Could have sworn the other one that I had to send back, they were 570 each. So maybe the model I got they had like the more powerful supplies or something, I don't know. But either way, it looks like my current usage is at 154 watts, so that's still pretty cool. So if like I start reaching too much power... Wait, that says 870, so this warning threshold must be based on a dual power setup. So ultimately, once I have stuff set up, I either A, have to configure it somehow to only use one, or B, I need to just have both of them in there. Right now I only have the one, and that's all it's showing. Oh, it even tells me the max right there. Alert management. So I can't use that. How about this? Enable power cap. Would this allow me to limit systems maximum potential power? 570 watts. That's, I believe, what those other power supplies had. So that's interesting. But it looks like you can limit, maybe if you wanted to do two and reduce how much each one uses individually or something. I don't know. I don't know enough about this stuff. Everything I do is on a need-to-know basis. There's my core count and stuff. Actually, where'd that power supply thing? Does it? But I saw something in here that was going to show statistics. I want to see the statistics. What do they show? So I can see the measurement stuff. Peak power was 240 watts. Ooh, peak amps. That'll be useful because I've been afraid, like, how much amperage is it going to start drawing if every single one of these gets plugged in? If I have two servers with the two power supplies each, how much is this going to... Like, is it going to trip my breaker with the rest of my computers all on the same circuit breaker? But I can see right here, it draws up to at 2 amps. Sooner or later, I'm probably going to end up tripping something. I can see that they have like the pins and stuff. There's like little markers and stuff. You guys are not going to be able to see it, I don't think, but maybe you can. There's like somebody with a marker on a little matrix that's on there. Looks like it's like listing the pins or something. Whatever. That's not important right now to me. But still really cool. So the processors, we've got CPU stuff. Yeah, let's overclock this baby. How do we overclock it? Overclocking server hardware, probably a horrible, horrible, horrible idea. Am I wrong? Am I right? I don't know. The capability, information for processor and connector CPU1. And every server I'm going to be dealing with is going to have the same CPUs. It's the Xeon X 5570, or I think that's what it was. So, like, if I need to swap out or anything, everything's just consistent between the different servers. So I'm going to have 4 or 5 different servers having gone through my hands in this process as I'm trying to get them to give me the right fucking ones. And the difference is basically just the RAM and form factor on the drives and stuff. But the CPUs are going to be the same. Always, all across the board, because there's like a million different, Xeon processors that they can put in these, and seem to have a good clock speed, and I'd rather be consistent. So the capability of information, 64-bit, yes. Hyperthreading, yes. Each of these CPUs has 4 cores and 8 threads. So I have 8 cores on a server, but when I'm assigning like virtual cores, I have I can put up to 16 because there's 16 total threads. So with 2 servers, ultimately I have like 32 threads to fuck around with, which is cool. And all the capabilities of the different virtualization stuff is on. I don't know what turbo mode is going to do here exactly. It's got to be related to the kind of overclocking type of thing. Cache enabled, level, primary, secondary, tertiary, max size, whatever. I don't know. Remote access. Remote access. So there's the iDRAC 6 Enterprise. Ooh la la. Necrosis in his Enterprise Data Server Center in his fucking bedroom. So there is a web interface, and I think that's how you normally would have used it. I open this in a new tab and see what it looks like. If I click it, it's connecting, or I'm assuming maybe it's trying to connect physically to it, and it can't because this is essentially connected through internally. So it's got its own little IP address there on my network, but it's outside my subnet. I see. So even if I had it plugged in right now, I don't know how that would work exactly because my subnet's only on .1. Whatever. Removable flash memory. Not sure what this stuff is. I don't know what vFlash is. Slots. Not to be confused with sluts. So there's still a lot more stuff I could integrate if I wanted to. So, because there's 4 more, what do you call them, PCI slots. Looks like 4x and 8x. So if you wanted to, say, do any kind of GPU computation, I think you could put in like an 8x style of video card or GPU, whatever you want to call it. And depending on which ones you have, you can do pass-through. There's some complications as far as ESXi goes and NVIDIA cards. You have to get like very specific ones, and I think any AMD works just fine. I've never used a non-NVIDIA card. I've been pretty consistent with NVIDIA, except like the early days when we didn't even need to put fans on graphics cards yet. Then it was like 3D Blaster Banshee and all sorts of other funky things. So we have the iDRAC system itself, the PowerEdge, 710 MGA. What is this? Maybe that's like the serial interface and like the GPU, the VGA port stuff in the back. I'm assuming. This I know I can change out, the PERC 6, because I have the H700, and that's going to go on my main server, whichever one's going to be running the primary RAID array with my file server setup portion of things, because the PERC 6, I believe, cannot read over 2 terabytes per hard drive. So this can be pulled out and another one put in. And I have one H700, but I'm not messing with this one. Now, what's interesting to me is how it's listing 2 gigabit Ethernet. I'm not sure why, because I only saw one in the back. And I had 4 ports. Unless one card is actually 2? Is that a possibility? I don't know. But that's alright. Man, this is going to be just the stupidest, boringest video that no one's going to want to watch. But yeah, I can add stuff if I want. If I wanted to, say, do a lot more networking stuff and need more network cards, I can add one in, things like that. Or if I wanted to, say, I imagine if I wanted to do more hard drives, I could add another controller, maybe even integrate. Like if I have one server where I replace the PERC 6 with the 8700, I could reintegrate the PERC 6 into another PCI slot, perhaps, and just, run more shit. Then I might need a different backplate or figure something out, but whatever. Temperature stuff, and this thing's literally just sitting on a box right next to me, so ambient temperature stuff, voltages. So it looks like this is a really cool system as far as giving you information. And this is the voltage stuff. Everything reports good. 112 volts on the power supply. All right, let's keep going. Software, what do we got? Ultimately is the storage I'm going for here, because I'm curious what the problem is, supposedly. Because I don't know anything about RAIDs and stuff, and that's going to be a big learning curve. I mean, it looks really simple to set up, but the problem is, it's like if you change something, what if I want to add in a hard drive to the array? I don't even know how to do that yet. When I try it, I'll know. I'll Google what I need to know, but until then, I don't know. So yeah, the operating system information is going straight off of VMware, ESXi. System time, boot time. Okay, that's all accurate. Show me my storage.